What's up, basketball fans? Welcome to the Raptors Report. It is time to talk about the Toronto Raptors. A little bit news to talk about in terms of Cole Swider. The Toronto Raptors have announced that they have signed Cole Swider to their second 10-day contract. And of course, this is going to lead him to the end of the season. We're going to be discussing a little bit Cole Swider, but shout out to Raptors update as well. Also, there's no shout out for today's video. There will be no trivia question. If you do want a shout out, let me know in the comment section below and I'll give you a shout out. So let's get into today's video. Let's not waste any time. Now, Cole Swider, obviously, as you see, he signed with the Raptors on a second 10-day contract. And just overall, his numbers with the Toronto Raptors, look, they don't look super impressive. I'm not going to sit here and say he's the next, Matt Thomas or whatever he is, but there are some qualities to Cole, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But quickly taking a look at his stats here, don't look too impressive. 6.5 points in 17.8 minutes played per game. His field goal percentage looks horrendous. 34% on 7.2 attempts per game. He's supposed to be a sniper, but his three-point shot is only 29% on 5.2 attempts per game. But do not be fooled. Numbers can be deceiving. And look, Cole is who he is. As I talked about in my previous video, he's not going to be a six man off the bench. He's not someone that's going to come in and provide 15, 20 points consistently, but he is someone that a lot of teams can use. Now, am I suggesting that he's going to have a long-term future with the Toronto Raptors? Not necessarily, but this is a good chance for Cole to end the season where he might get more minutes, where he'll get more touches, and he'll be playing against opposing teams, G League players, and bench players as well. So again, for someone like Cole, he's obviously trying to find his footing in the NBA. He has played with several teams. But why is it important for the Toronto Raptors to re-sign him? Obviously, you're not going to re-sign someone new at this point. Cole is familiar with the system, and he's had his moments with the Toronto Raptors, including a game where he's scored 0 points. He's looked horrendous, as I said. But like I said, the expectations for Cole coming in, even when he signed his first 10-day contract, wasn't that he's going to be a six man off the bench. He's going to be someone that's, just going to come in and just absolutely torch teams with his scoring or shooting. He's going to be someone that's going to, get inconsistent minutes. He's not going to be someone that's going to be playing every single game. He's going to be coming in if he does have a future with the Toronto Raptors, or if he has a future at all in the NBA. We obviously wish Cole the best moving forward, but for Cole, it's going to be someone that's going to be the 10th 11 man off the bench, similar to a role I use with two teams in the Eastern Conference, Sam Merrill, Sam Hauser with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics, kind of in a similar role. That's what I want Cole to kind of become in the NBA. He's going to be 26 in another month or so, and it's super, super important for these kind of guys to have on your roster, because when we talk about signing younger guys, what is the main issue? You sign someone that's 21, 22 years old. They're not only going to be, wanting playing time, but they're also going to be a little bit more selfish. They're going to look for their shots a little bit more, just considering they're young, they're still learning the game. What Cole, he's kind of already, he is who he is. His game isn't going to change necessarily, but he's still at an age where he's trying to find his footing in the NBA. He's 26 years old. He understands his role. He's not going to be trying to do too much, but at the same time, he's still going to be hungry because he hasn't necessarily made his minutes. It's not like he's 35 years old or 33 years old. He's been in the NBA for 7, 8 seasons. So he's still hungry to make the money, but he understands his role. He's wise enough to know that he's not going to force his shots. He's not going to do dumb decisions with the ball. He's not going to try and look, just go out of the way and try to go ISO. So that's why it's super important to have players like Cole. Look, he has limitations to his game. We've talked about it. He's not a great defender. He's not super athletic, but he understands his role. And it's important to have these kind of guys in your system because, like I said, he's not going to play every game, but that's okay because he understands that. He's not going to complain. He's not going to be causing locker room issues. He's not going to be playing selfishly. He realizes he may only get 3 or 4 shots a game, and he's completely fine. Most games, he's probably going to score 5 points, probably less. But the occasional game where he does go off of, that's where I find with NBA fan bases really captures your eye. You look at box scores, obviously with gambling, unfortunately, being a huge, just kind of having its claw into the NBA. A lot of people are betting. You're going to look at Cole and look at box scores and wonder how and who is this guy? For a lot of other NBA fan bases, looking at someone like Cole and kind of just looking at this guy and wondering how in the world did he score 20 points? So he's going to be one of those guys that's not going to be expected to do a lot. He's certainly going to be helping stretch the floor for sure. But when he does go off, do not be surprised. He's not going to do it every game. He might do it, once every fifth, sixth game. But it'll be cool to have, Cole just moving towards the end of the season. He might get a cap invite from the Toronto Raptors just to kind of fight for the final spot, maybe a two-way contract. Who knows? But it'll be fun to see what the Raptors do with Cole just moving forward during the offseason as well. And, again, for Cole, wish him the best of luck. Obviously, to end the season, you definitely want to put on a strong performance for not only the Toronto Raptors, but it's also like almost like an interview, where you go and you're trying to interview for multiple companies. He kind of has to display what he's capable of. We know he's a three-point shooter, but can he become consistent? That's the most important thing for Cole moving forward. So again, not too much to talk about. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on Cole overall. Had a great game last game, so I'm very curious to see what you guys think about Cole. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. That will be it for today's video. So again, thank you so much for watching. No trivia question for today. If you want a shout out, let me know in the comment section below. And I hope you guys have yourselves a great weekend.